Hello everyone, welcome to Home Cooking with me Hema Subramanian. Today I'm going to share 6 different unique egg recipes that you can try at home. These are really simple and very tasty to make. So let's get started and check out all these wonderful recipes. For the fluffy souffle pancakes, first I'm going to separate the egg yolks and the whites. So for this recipe I've taken about 4 eggs. Crack open the eggs and separate the yolk and whites. Keep them in a separate bowl. Now I'm going to transfer the egg whites into a larger bowl because we're going to whisk these separately. So I'm just going to refrigerate this for a few minutes till we whisk the egg yolks. To a bowl, add the egg yolks, whisk them nicely. So after you whisk the egg yolks, add the milk. Now I've taken about 7 tablespoons of boiled and cooled milk. To this add 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. I've taken 6 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, that is Maida, for this recipe. To this I'm adding a pinch of salt. Next add 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Now I'm going to beat the chilled egg whites. After beating the egg whites for a few seconds, add 1 tablespoon of sugar. We're going to add the sugar at intervals. I've taken 4 tablespoons of sugar totally, so I'm adding 1 tablespoon at intervals. Beat the egg whites till you get nice stiff peaks and they're nice and fluffy. So now we have the egg yolks and the egg whites. Now we're going to gradually mix the egg whites into the egg yolk mixture. Take a little bit of the egg white mixture. So you can see how slowly and gradually I'm mixing the egg whites into the yolk mixture. So now we've mixed half of the egg whites. I'm just going to transfer the entire mixture back into this bowl. Now you can see the entire batter is ready. I've gradually mixed it. Make sure you don't whisk it too hard. You want to maintain that fluffiness. The batter is done. Now let's start making the pancakes. Heat the pan and maintain the flame on a low throughout. So just grease the pan with a little oil. Gently wipe off the excess oil. Spoon a little bit of the pancake mixture onto the pan. Now I'm using a tablespoon. Add 1 tablespoon at a time, gently on top of the other. So initially I'm adding 3 tablespoons. So first I'm going to make 2 pancakes. To the pan add about 1 to 2 teaspoons of water. Close the pan and let it cook for about 2 minutes on low flame. After 2 minutes, open the pan and add another tablespoon on top of the pancake. It's important that you maintain the time perfectly on these pancakes because if you overcook them, they can become flat. Add another teaspoon of water and close the pan. After 2 minutes, flip the pancakes gently and very carefully to the other side. After you've flipped it, add another 2 teaspoons of water, close the pan and cook for another 2 minutes on low flame. After 2 minutes, remove the pancakes from the pan and serve it hot with some butter and maple syrup. Here are these incredibly soft and fluffy, delicious souffle pancakes. They are best enjoyed right out of the pan when it's still nice and warm. So serve it immediately and enjoy. So you'll get about 5 to 6 pancakes with this batter mixture, but if you want to make more, you can always add more eggs and double the quantity. For the egg sandwich, first I'm going to boil the eggs. For this recipe, I've taken about 6 eggs. So I've taken brown eggs, but you can also take the regular white eggs. Add half teaspoon of salt. Keeping the flame on medium, boil the eggs for about 15 minutes. Remove the shell from the boiled eggs and keep them aside. Now I'm going to make the filling for the egg sandwich. To a bowl, grate all the eggs. Now I've grated all the boiled eggs. To this I'm going to add 1 medium-sized onion finely chopped. So I've taken 2 green chilies. Now this is optional. I've de-seeded 1 green chili and I've kept the seeds for 1. So if you don't want it spicy, you can remove the seeds and then you can add the green chilies. Next, add some finely chopped coriander leaves. Season it with half teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon pepper. Next, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. So initially I'm adding 2 tablespoons. If you do want to add a little more mayonnaise, you can add it later after mixing all the ingredients together. So just mix everything so it's all well combined. This is a very quick and easy egg sandwich that you can enjoy for breakfast or for an evening snack. You can also pack these for lunches. You can check for seasoning at this point. If you do want to season it with a little salt or pepper, you can do it at this point. So once you've made the mix, let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes so all the flavors get absorbed. Now let's make the sandwiches. Cut off the edges on all the sides of the bread. Take a little bit of the mayonnaise, spread it onto the bread slice. This is just going to moisten the bread a little bit. If you want to apply some softened butter instead of mayonnaise, you can do that as well. So take a generous amount of the filling, place it on one slice. So just spread it out evenly on all sides. Close the sandwich and cut it into rectangles or triangles as you please. So I'm using fresh sandwich bread. You can use brown bread or multigrain bread if you have at home. For the egg mixture, I'm taking 2 eggs. To this, I'm going to add half cup of milk. This is boiled and cooled milk. Add a quarter teaspoon of salt, quarter teaspoon pepper. Whisk it nicely till it's all well combined. To the plate, pour the egg mixture. So next, heat a pan, add a little bit of butter. So you need to maintain the flame on a medium low. Just dip the bread into the egg mixture. Make sure it's coated on both sides. Place it on the pan. Cook on one side for about a minute. Now flip it to the other side. So place a slice of cheese, take another slice, dip it in the egg mixture. Place it on the cheese slice. Flip the sandwich over. So just add a little butter on the sides. So make sure you cook the sides to a nice golden color. So I'm going to place another slice of cheese on top. Dip another slice of bread in the egg mixture and place it on top. Just make sure you add a little butter in the corners. Now I'm going to flip this to the other side. Keeping the flame on a low, close the pan and cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes. Flip the sandwich to the other side. Close the pan and cook for another 2 minutes on low flame. So after 2 minutes, you can check on the sandwich. So you can see it's got this lovely golden color on both sides. So remove the sandwich and serve it nice and hot. For the egg pizza, first I'm going to cut the tomato slices. So you can cut the tomato into nice thick slices. Don't make them too thin. So this is a good size. For the egg pizza, I've taken 6 eggs to a bowl. Add half teaspoon of salt. The salt you can adjust according to your taste. Half teaspoon pepper. About 1 teaspoon of grated garlic. So whisk everything together. Make sure the eggs are nice and fresh. Whisk it nicely. So now let's make the egg pizza. Take a nice white pan. Add about 2 teaspoons of olive oil. Now I'm using olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, you can just use regular cooking oil. But don't use anything very strong like coconut oil or sesame oil. Just make sure it's something very light. So we're going to cook this on low flame. Once the pan is heated, make sure you cook the entire egg pizza on low flame. Pour it onto the pan. Place the tomato slices. I'm just going to sprinkle some mixed herbs. If you have Italian seasoning, oregano, you can use that. So it's going to give you a nice flavoring. I'm also going to sprinkle some chili flakes. Just a little bit, not too much, because we're going to sprinkle some more on top. Now pour the egg mixture over the tomatoes. So I'm going to sprinkle some chopped coriander leaves. So you can also use basil if you have basil. So close the pan and let it cook. It's cooked beautifully. You can see it's puffed up nicely. Finally, I'm going to add some cheese. So just grate some cheese on top. So we're going to add a nice thick layer of cheese to get the goodness of the pizza. Finally, finish off by adding some Italian seasoning. So if you don't have Italian seasoning, you can just add some chili flakes. Close the pan for another 2 to 3 minutes till all the cheese melts. Wow, you can see the cheese is melted completely. It's beautiful. The egg pizza is done. I'm going to transfer this to a nice plate and serve it immediately. For the egg chilli recipe, first I'm going to mix a few ingredients to coat the egg pieces. For the dry ingredients, take quarter cup of corn flour. Next add quarter cup of maida, that is all-purpose flour. Just add a pinch of salt and pepper. Mix it together nicely. And I'm going to pour this onto the plate. For the batter, take half cup of corn flour to the bowl, half cup of maida, add half teaspoon of pepper and half teaspoon of salt. Just mix it in. Gradually pouring water to get the right consistency. The batter should be nice and smooth. You don't want any lumps in it. So the dry flour and the wet batter is ready. Keep this aside. So for this recipe, I've boiled 6 eggs. So I'm using the brown eggs. You can just use the regular white eggs. Cut them into 4 and keep it aside. Take a kadai, pour enough oil. Coat the egg pieces in the dry flour. Now dip the egg slice into the wet batter. Once the oil is heated up, reduce the flame to a medium-low and then gently drop the egg pieces. Double coating the egg pieces will ensure that the eggs don't burst. Sometimes they tend to burst while you deep fry them in oil. So this way the coating will be intact and they may not burst. Now that I have fried the egg pieces, next I'm going to make the sauce. To the pan, add 1 tablespoon of oil. Add 2 teaspoons of finely chopped garlic. Add 2 teaspoons of finely chopped ginger. Add 1 large onion cut into wedges. After a minute, add 1 capsicum cut into wedges. Next, I'm adding 6 fresh red chilies that have been slit. If you don't have red chilies, you can use green chilies as well. Saute the vegetables for about 2 minutes. Next, add quarter teaspoon of salt, half teaspoon pepper. Now I'm going to add all the sauces. Add 1 teaspoon of vinegar, 2 teaspoons soy sauce, 1.5 tablespoons chili sauce, 2 tablespoons tomato ketchup. Now this is homemade tomato ketchup. I'll give the link in the description box. You can click on the link and get the recipe for the tomato ketchup. Next, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. This is optional. Next, I'm going to add half cup of corn flour slurry. I've dissolved half teaspoon of corn flour with half cup of water. This is to just give you a little gravy consistency. Now that the sauce is ready, gently drop the egg pieces into the sauce. Start mixing it slowly. If you need more sauce for the gravy consistency, then you can add a little extra depending on the quantity of vegetables and eggs you're using. Wow, the sauce has coated the egg pieces beautifully. It looks really good. So finally, I'm going to garnish it with some chopped spring onions. This is going to give you a nice crunch. So gently mix it. So there you go. Here is a simply delicious and spicy egg chilli. You can see the sauce has coated the egg pieces so beautifully. So for the garlic egg fried rice, I've taken 2 bulbs of hill garlic which I recently bought from the Kodai Hills. So I was very excited to share this recipe with you guys because we're going to use a lot of garlic and it's got this lovely nice fresh flavors. Peel the skin from the garlic, cut into thin slices and keep it aside. So I've taken 3 eggs for this recipe. Add a pinch of salt and lightly beat it. To the kadai or a wok, add 1 tablespoon of oil. Next, add the sliced garlic. So the garlic is going to infuse all the flavors into the oil. So once the garlic slices have turned to a nice golden color, adding 3 red chilies finely chopped. Now if you don't have these fresh red chilies, you can always use green chilies. Next, add the spring onion whites. This is a small bunch. Chop it into small pieces. So now I'm going to add the eggs. Just cook the eggs, make a quick scramble of that. So once the eggs are cooked, I'm going to add a bowl of rice. This is a day old rice, you can see. You can take it out from the refrigerator and directly put it into the wok. Or you can just bring it to room temperature and use it. Keeping the flame on a medium low, just mix everything together. So now I'm going to season it with salt, 1 teaspoon, pepper 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of light soy sauce. Just add a few chopped spring onion greens. So you can mix everything together and check for seasoning at this point. So if you need to add extra pepper, if you'd like it a little more spicy, you can add a little pepper. So now you can increase the flame to a medium high and start mixing everything together till it's all well combined. So once you've mixed everything, turn off the stove and you can serve this garlic fried rice nice and hot. So now I'm going to make a fried egg for the fried rice. Just pour a teaspoon of oil. Make sure the pan is fully coated. Now I'm just keeping this cutter so that it's placed in the center. But if you don't have the cutter, don't worry about it, just do it without the cutter. Just season it with a little salt, just sprinkle a little. Add some fresh pepper. I'm going to serve this flavorful garlic egg fried rice with 1 fried egg. Now this is optional.